A single father working as a janitor noticed what the doctors had missed and saved a billionaire's son's life. Within minutes, sometimes an act as simple as paying attention can change everything. It was Tuesday night at Celestia, at the Mirage, one of Las Vegas's most renowned fine dining restaurants. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? Crystal chandeliers spilled light over honey-glossed hardwood floors. Soft jazz drifted through the air above tables, where guests in Armani suits and Chanel gowns sipped rare wines as if time itself had paused. Each polished silver cutlery set cost a worker's month's wage. Every dish leaving the kitchen looked like a living painting, so beautiful that diners hesitated a few seconds before daring to touch their knives. Behind the thick velvet curtain, inside the humming wheel of kitchens and service corridors, stood a man whose callous hands held a heart warmer than any flame in that kitchen. Adam Cooper, 38, the night janitor. He had learned a skill money could never buy, the ability to see what others overlook. It was a skill forged through countless sleepless nights, holding his daughter Emma, whose fragile heart required constant monitoring. The dinner rush was slowing, the dining room settling into luxurious calm, when the VIP room door opened quietly. A little boy with brown hair, dressed in a perfectly fitted suit, stepped out, pale, clutching his right side, breathing shallowly. Beside him was a woman in a black Oscar de la Renta dress, the same woman who looked composed and untouchable in every magazine photo, but whose voice now trembled. "Oliver, sweetheart, look at Mommy." The hotel medic arrived. "Probably just low blood sugar," he said. Everything seemed under control. From behind the curtain, Adam felt something click inside his chest. A familiar alarm, the same instinct that had once saved him and cost him everything. He set down his mop and stepped straight into the light. "Ma'am, I'm not a doctor. But if the pain is sharp on the right side, with nausea and shallow breathing, waiting even a few more hours could be too late." The room went silent. Even the jazz seemed to vanish. In a world that worshipped degrees and gold-plated business cards, a single father janitor had just spoken the truth everyone else had missed. And minutes later, that truth saved a life. If you believe that sometimes care itself is the strongest medicine, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more stories of healing like this. But why could Adam, a man who had once walked away from medicine, still see what the top doctors couldn't? The answer begins 7 years earlier. Adam Cooper was not the kind of man you'd expect to find in a 5-star restaurant like Celestia. He wasn't a celebrity chef, nor a sommelier with a refined palate, nor a courteous manager with a smooth, deep voice. Adam was the one who cleaned up what others left behind, the man most diners never noticed. Yet without him, Celestia's glamour would be nothing more than a fragile porcelain mask waiting to crack. Every evening as the sun set over the Nevada desert and the Las Vegas Strip lit up with millions of lights, Adam put on his simple navy blue uniform and stepped into a world he knew he would never belong to. He pushed his cleaning cart through hallways lined with deep red carpet, polished marble sinks until they shone, and made sure not a single scrap of paper or smudge ruined the flawless experience of guests, paying thousands of dollars for a few hours of dinner. He moved with a quiet, efficient grace, a shadow among the glitter. His mind, however, was often elsewhere, on his 9-year-old daughter Emma, who would be waiting for him at home with her grandmother, a small, brave girl who had known more hospital rooms than playgrounds. 7 years ago, Adam's life was on a completely different path. He was in his final year of medical school, a bright future ahead, married to his college sweetheart, Lisa. They had just welcomed Emma into the world, a joyful light that made their long hours of study and work feel worth it. Then the unthinkable happened. Lisa, a vibrant young teacher, began suffering from severe headaches. Doctors initially dismissed it as stress or migraines. But Adam, with his budding medical knowledge and, more importantly, his deep knowledge of his wife, sensed it was something graver. He pushed for more tests, he argued, he begged. He saw the subtle changes others missed, the slight stumble in her step, the fleeting confusion in her eyes. It was Adam who first uttered the terrifying word to her primary physician, tumor. He was right, but by the time the aggressive glioma was diagnosed, it was too late for treatment to be effective. Lisa passed away 6 months later. Adam's world shattered. The medical establishment, the very field he was dedicating his life to, had failed the person he loved most because they hadn't looked closely enough, hadn't listened intently enough. In his grief, he couldn't bear to put on the white coat. The sight of a hospital corridor, the smell of antiseptic, it all became a trigger for the most profound pain he had ever known. He dropped out, needing to be present for his infant daughter, who herself was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect a year later. Medicine had taken his love. Now, it was the only thing keeping his daughter alive. The irony was a bitter pill. To support Emma and pay her mounting medical bills, Adam took any job he could find. He worked as an orderly, a pharmacy deliveryman, and finally, as a janitor at the Mirage. The job was physically demanding, but mentally quiet, giving him space to be exhausted enough to sleep and to think. Caring for Emma sharpened his observational skills to a razor's edge. He learned to read the faint blue tinge around her lips, the almost imperceptible shortening of her breath, the slight lag in her energy that signaled a problem long before any monitor beeped. He became an expert in the silent language of suffering. This was the man who stood, mop in hand, in the corridor of Celestia that Tuesday night. When he saw Oliver Sinclair, the 8-year-old son of tech billionaire Alistair Sinclair, stumble out of the VIP room, Adam wasn't seeing a rich kid in a bespoke suit. He was seeing a child in distress. The boy's posture, the hunch, the protective arm clutched across his abdomen was wrong for simple fatigue. The pallor was a specific waxy gray. The shallow, rapid breathing wasn't from crying. It was the body trying to minimize the pain from peritoneal irritation. The hotel medic, competent for dealing with fainting spells and cuts, saw a pampered child who'd eaten too much rich food. Adam saw appendicitis on the brink of rupture. The mother, Eleanor Sinclair, was a figure of poised power in the media, but in that moment she was just a terrified mother, her eyes wide with a fear Adam recognized intimately. It was the fear of losing your entire world. When he stepped forward, he broke every protocol. Janitors did not diagnose guests, but fathers of sick children did. His quiet, firm words cut through the medic's dismissal. "Ma'am, I'm not a doctor. But if the pain is sharp on the right side, with nausea and shallow breathing, waiting even a few more hours could be too late." He spoke not with the arrogance of a professional, but with the desperate conviction of someone who had witnessed the cost of waiting. Something in his tone, the raw certainty born of personal tragedy, made Eleanor Sinclair pause. She looked from the confident medic to the anxious janitor, her maternal instinct warring with societal hierarchy. Perhaps it was the sheer, unvarnished concern in Adam's eyes, a mirror of her own fear. She demanded an ambulance immediately, insisting they go to the hospital for a full scan. In the emergency room, doctors initially skeptical were shocked by the CT scan results. Oliver's appendix was severely inflamed and on the verge of perforation. A rupture could have led to septic shock, a potentially fatal condition. The surgeon later told Alistair Sinclair that another 3 or 4 hours of delay would have been catastrophic. The billionaire, a man who commanded boardrooms and moved markets, found himself trembling with a relief so profound it rendered him speechless. He sought out the man who had spoken up. He found Adam in a custodial closet, refilling his cart with sanitizer. Alistair Sinclair, in his $10,000 suit, thanked the man in the $15 uniform, his voice thick with emotion. He offered a reward, a life-changing sum of money. Adam refused. Politely, firmly, he hadn't done it for money. He had done it because he saw a child who needed help, and he knew what it was to need help and have it arrive too late. This act of refusal, more than his initial diagnosis, stunned Sinclair. Here was a man who had everything and a man who had nothing, yet the one with nothing possessed a wealth of character. The billionaire could scarcely comprehend. Sinclair didn't give up. Instead of a reward, he created an opportunity. He established a full-ride scholarship in Emma's name for children with chronic illnesses, ensuring her future medical and educational needs were met. He also, using his considerable influence, helped Adam re-enter the medical field, not as a doctor, which Adam no longer desired, but as a pioneering patient advocate and diagnostic consultant, teaching medical students and seasoned physicians alike the art of observation, the science of truly seeing the patient. Adam's story isn't about a miraculous medical diagnosis. It's a testament to the profound power of attention, the kind of attention born from love and honed by loss. It's a reminder that expertise isn't always housed in a prestigious degree. Sometimes it lives in the calloused hands and weary eyes of those who have cared deeply in the dark. Quiet hours. In a world that often looks past the people who clean our spaces, Adam Cooper reminds us that the most vital resource in any room is not the wealth or status it holds, but the humanity present within it. He taught a room full of the world's most privileged that sometimes the person who sees most clearly is the one society has trained itself not to see. His act of kindness, a simple moment of paying attention, didn't just save a boy's life. It altered the course of two families, healing old wounds and forging a new path forward, proving that true compassion is the most transformative force of all. If you were moved by this true story of quiet observation and profound kindness, please show your support. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder of the power of paying attention, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories for more real-life narratives that illuminate the extraordinary impact of simple human goodness.